What's going on, you guys? Jay here and welcome back to the channel. So don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe if you haven't already, and if you get an opportunity on the way out, drop a comment. It's really going to help us out here on the channel, and in turn it's going to help people find the Terra Luna Classic blockchain, and that's one of the most important points. I'll keep pushing on it. It's the most important point, if anything, going into 2025. We must figure out how we are going to attract a new user base, whether that's through algorithms, through dApps, or through amazing ideas. We've got to find a way. So as a lot of you know, and if you don't know, I worked quite diligently on the Terraform P301 exhibit quite extensively. I went in, I'd done all of the research, and I've been continuing to research what wallets we had been given. Now, I have said previously that TFL have committed to all of the burning that they agreed they would. But that doesn't mean all of the assets that are available for us to go through and burn have been burned. And I'm not talking about the LFG assets. Don't get me wrong, these assets definitely need to burn, but the most important factor with this is having the overall validating base on side. This is a very crucial aspect to this proposal, because it's not just a text proposal. As you all know, I'm a man of my word, and I have gone through and I've removed a lot of funds for this blockchain through governance. Now, these come down to chain upgrades. So again, I need all of the validators to be on side. Do Kwon has been extradited to the US, and Chris Armani did state to us during that X space that Do Kwon wanted to see those USTC assets given back to the original Terra Classic community. Not the Luna community, not the victims of the crash, but the original chain they belong to. And that was the purpose of the LFG reserves to begin with. I see a lot of people saying we should do something about the BTC. That is none of my concern at this point. My only concern is getting rid of that USTC. So let's push on, let's push forward. And again, for those of you who are not up to speed, I went ahead, I did the research, and I found a lot of different assets we could go in and burn. We burned all of the Mirror Protocol USTC. We burned all of the Anchor Protocols USTC as well. I'm still waiting for Frag to write the smart contract to enable the burning of the Luna Classic that is remaining in Mirror and Anchor Protocol. It's a very small amount, but it does need to be burned nonetheless. I'm sure Frag will get round to it, and once he does, I'll be sure to go ahead and pursue those funds. Now, what I want everybody to understand where I'm coming from here, the reason why there are funds remaining is because of the extensive amount of projects TFL, Do Kwon themselves had launched leading up to the crash. There was a lot going on, as you know. It was a very, very successful blockchain during that time, just before the crash. Now, as a result, what we're actually left with is a group of rogue wallets that Chris Armani simply didn't know about, and the majority of the TFL team probably won't have access to them, and these would have been controlled by the man himself, being Do Kwon. So what I want to do is talk to you guys about Project Dawn. This was an initiative that was launched, and it was a funding round for critical infrastructure improvements of core technology to supplement the accelerating growth of the Terra ecosystem during that time. As we know, that completely came to a standstill, and a lot of those projects just simply got forgotten about. So what I want to do is show you guys the most updated version I have of Trial Exhibit P301. You might remember that I mentioned I've been traveling a lot. I'm moving between destinations at the moment in anticipation for Project Remedy to be launched, but I didn't have access to this. I do have access to it now, and I've gone in and I've identified those final wallets that are remaining. And as I mentioned earlier in the video, these are assets that TFL themselves simply wouldn't have had access to, let alone knowledge of them. So although they are shown in Trial Exhibit P301, it doesn't mean they have access to them. And this is shown with the LFG funds. As we know, TFL has absolutely zero control over them. So going forward, we're going to start with the first wallet. And something I have to stress is the Mirror and Anchor Protocol assets that I helped the community burn by proposing and doing all of the work behind the scenes was a lot different, because those funds themselves were actually held in contracts. It was in itself easier because there wasn't a lot of testing to do behind the scenes, because Frag had already done something similar and he had whipped up that smart contract, as I said previously. So all of these funds are held in wallets, not contracts. I have to make that quite clear. So the process of actually going in and destroying these assets are going to come down to a chain upgrade. And with any chain upgrade out there, there needs to be a lot of technical work behind the scenes. It's going to have to go into the test net before it is sent into a proposal phase where the community and validators can vote on it. Now, there isn't a substantial amount of funds here in Luna Classic, but when we're looking at the USTC side of things, we're actually talking about 4% of the overall total supply of USTC. And there are a few different characters out there at the moment, and Bleaves being one of them, who are wondering who these funds belong to and what is their purpose. Well, the simple answer is they relate to Project Dawn or other similar projects that were launched by Do Kwon or TFL, and they've just been forgotten in time during the crash. And it's now down to us as a community to really address these. And again, it's all going to come down to a decentralized decision. So going forward to the next wallet, and there is 8 of them overall, we can see a further 58 million USTC, and this is why I was saying it's gonna be around 4% of the overall supply, and it's a big amount when you think of what's already been burnt, what could possibly be burned in the future with the LFG funds. It really helps any kind of attempt anyone is thinking about when it comes down to a USTC repeg, alongside removing the USTC reward distribution or reducing it drastically in the Oracle rewards pool. These are the kind of things that you would want to go towards as someone attempting any kind of USTC repeg, period. These are your first ports of call, if you will. Going on to the third wallet, and like I said, there are 8 of these wallets, and something that everybody should understand, I'll do a further video on it to get the message out there and really convey it to people, is this series of 8 wallets, if successful, would be a positive dress rehearsal for the burning of that 1.83 billion USTC that's held in the LFG reserves, meaning that we wouldn't need to do any kind of testing behind the scenes. We could simply just put the proposal up because we've already done the same thing previously with 8 wallets. The difference would be this time we're just going to be doing it with 1 wallet. So my mind's in this real kind of like strategic thinking as we go into 2025. We need to be more forward thinking. We've got to think how we can introduce a new user base, spin up new narratives, keep that new user base on top of attracting them, and just really starting to open our ecosystem up to lots of different possibilities. The meme sector itself's getting quite big, and it's something I've been paying a lot of attention to. As you guys know here on the channel, I'm big on memes. We were big on Ponky back in December last year, and that paid off at about 2,100% in gains. If that's not something we don't want to see on chain, we're absolutely bat crazy at the moment. So going forward on the 5th wallet here, seeing, like I said, smaller amounts here, but overall, it all adds up to around 4%. Something we should start to consider as a blockchain as well is the idea of just terminating a lot of the old system. And what I mean by this is all of the KRTC, the MNTC, all of these stable coins. There's so much of it lying around. We kind of need a multi-purpose smart contract that works in a chain upgrade where we go through and we consecutively remove KRTC and all the other stable coins and really just begin to clean up the chain, provide a much better environment for people to invigorate themselves in, if you will, really boost up the stable sector on chain and start to foster in a more dynamic environment that better serves our ecosystem and not some dead dream of a guy who's locked up in jail in the United States that can never have anything to do with crypto ever again, period. So this wallet is of interest. It's got 293 million LUNC in. It's got just over 3 million USTC. So again, there are going to be some decent Lunar Classic burns coming in amongst these 8 wallets that we're going to have to address. Something I need to state is this really is the remaining wallets that we have a legitimate right to go in and burn. And what I mean by that is going to Trial Exhibit P301, we have a list of wallets, okay? We have the confirmation from Chris Armani that there would be wallets and projects that they don't have access to, and we would need to go in and burn them, but they would burn the rest. They burned all of the Shuttlebridge assets, which was just over $250 billion LUNC. That is substantial, right? They said they couldn't burn the LFG assets because they didn't have access to them. That was true. They went in and they burned a serious amount of wallets, but they left a few out, i.e. the CEX wallets, which are lost to time unless we get the memos at some point in the future. That seems to be redacted from any court documents at this moment in time. But hey, maybe they'll pop up in the future. But those 8 wallets that remained, as I mentioned, was something that is completely outside the circle that was TFL after the crash. We must understand that DK has not been at the helm since then. There's a reason why they're on the list. We have a right to go in and burn them as a validator set, and all of the evidence points and supports this decision. But let me know what you guys think. Again, I've been on the hunt, just doing what I'm supposed to do as a validator: build, develop, deploy, hunt down tasks, make the chain better, provide an experience that is unlike anywhere else. I keep talking about Project Remedy, and honestly, I put out a tweet. It's like trying to give everybody a redacted document. There's not a lot I can tell you guys, because essentially a small drip would enable you to see the entire picture. That's not what I'm aiming for. I want to build up the suspense. It's going to be landing in Q1 of 2025. Be excited for it. It's something that is possibly going to change the entire existence of this blockchain, the direction. We could see a replenishment of the Oracle rewards pool, the community pool bulking up even further, substantial amount of burns, new users coming in, putting a pin on the map for Lunar Classic, not just for one individual project or person, but for everybody. I'll let you guys think about that. Let me know what you think about these 8 wallets in the comment section. Do you think we should have the right to burn them? Do you think we should leave them alone? What do you guys think? I'll go ahead and I'll start prepping all of the work behind the scenes with my development team and starting to get all of the technical stuff done and dusted and try to get this thing into the test net as soon as possible. So what to expect is really going to be these 8 wallets go up first for a proposal. Secondly would be the LFG assets after that. And then the likelihood is we'll be very close to the launch of Project Remedy. And who knows, you might find yourself on the very precipice of greatness this time next year and you don't even know it. Stay safe, stay humble, stay aware. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one. I hope you guys know if I ever do video, that's done. I can't do that on video. Ciao now.